Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Good Gut Live. I'm very excited to be here. This is a favorite topic. This is a topic that, as a registered dietitian, we know a lot about, we learn a lot about, we, especially early on in our career, discuss and really converse about with patients. And still to this day, many patients have lots of questions regarding food labels and really the only food labels that matter is the title of today's Good Gut Live. And again, the benefit of you watching Good Gut live on YouTube or wherever you're watching it live is you can interact. So put your questions down below if you're watching this or listening to this later on the Good Gut Live podcast, wherever you find podcasts. Thank you so much. I'll do my best to explain any visuals that I show today. We do have some visuals and we can always add more as well because there's a lot to discuss, but I will really the goal of today is to walk you through the way we shop for food, essentially the way, when we step into a grocery store, what are we looking for, what are we doing, how are we looking at these food products, and we want to share that with you. So I have a couple of steps to go through. So make sure you stay till the end, listen through. We're going to go through that. Starting off, my name is James Marin. I'm an integrative registered dietitian, environmental nutritionist, and the co-founder of Married to Health, which is an integrative dietetics practice. Many of you know that, but in case you didn't, so essentially we have a team of 8 registered dietitians. We've been registered dietitians for over a decade, which is crazy to say and think about, and we help people with medical nutrition therapy as well as prevent the need of medical nutrition therapy. We dove into that topic the last kind of live that we did, which is really kind of understanding, do you need medical nutrition therapy? What is this diet that's best for you? And debunking some of that and discussing, which diet's right for you and what's going on with that. But today is very much, all of our topics are very much connected. All of our topics are integrative, right? Which is really just saying everything at the end of the day is connected, from your gut microbiome and beyond, right, to the food you're eating, to how food is grown, to your kids, your grandkids. You are all obviously connected. So I want to get into like what are we even talking about today? What is this like food label? And obviously, so many of us have opinions on this. There's many who do speak on this. This is very much in the news. We've been uh, even a couple of topics before discussing food labels and everything going on with food, and this idea that, hey, in the United States we need to have better food, better quality food. We need to, I guess some are calling for more regulation, or some are calling for just improved quality, whether that's with more regulation or just overall better standards across the board. So there's a lot there. But to refocus, I think all of us, whether you're a mom, you're a dad, you're not, you're a college student, you're, just a busy professional, whatever you are, wherever you are in your life, you eat food. And chances are you've eaten food from a package. So how do you determine if that food is going to get you to where you want to be? And I would assume for the majority, we all want to be healthy, right? I don't really know many people who seriously don't want to be healthy. I think there's people who don't care, obviously, where they're like, okay, I'm overweight or I have diabetes. Who cares? Who cares? But really, at the end of the day, and deep down, as you work through some of that trauma and get some emotional support and mental support and physical support, you realize, yeah, it does feel good to be healthy. It feels good to not have dis-ease, really. And so all that is I'm in ease. I'm healthy. I don't want to dis that. I don't want dis-ease, right? I want ease. I want to feel good. I want to thrive. And speaking as a husband and father, I want to be around for a long time. And I don't want to not just be around, I want to thrive in that. I want to be able to run and play with my daughter and my grandkids. And I definitely think about that, especially the older that I get. That is definitely on my mind a lot more. So with that and finding some of that motivation, understanding, we dive into topics like this. We go, okay, so then what are the puzzle pieces to this goal, or whatever your goal is? Maybe a lot of our patients and a lot of you watching Good Gut Live, obviously we connect things back to gut health and to understanding whether you have IBS or SIBO, IMO, all these types of dysbiosis, right? It's kind of like that dis-ease, dysbiosis. We're really just saying you have this imbalance of microbes, right, in your gut. You are this human with disease, but really you're superorganisms. So you are human made up of many other ecosystems and organisms within you. So you get that dysbiosis. That's the microbial disease. So with that, you're going, okay, what's my goal? Is my goal to stop my IBS symptoms or to really help with my SIBO symptoms? Is my goal to really overcome my type 2 diabetes, my heart disease, which is all very much possible, right? So, a lot of these things are possible. Now, I will say as disclaimer, this is not medical advice. I know we have disclaimers down below and disclaimers through our website and things like that. But I always need to say, obviously, this isn't individual medical advice. Obviously, this isn't to say, we're all the same and we can all just follow the same advice. You're definitely not. You're an individual and you need your own personal care. And what I can say with that is when it comes to various diseases, you can definitely do a lot of damage that really can't be undone. Our body, for the most part, though, is extremely malleable, it's extremely resilient. It can heal extremely quickly for the most part. But yeah, when you get past a certain age, when you do enough damage for decades and decades and decades, we're not, I tend to think of superheroes, right? Like Wolverine, or like we don't have these regenerative superhero powers, right? We're obviously not that, although our body is amazing. So I do want to say yes, for the most part, and for most chronic diseases, they can be overcome. You can overcome the symptoms. You can go into remission, cure, whatever you want to say. But we've seen it happen. There's lots of evidence to show it happens. And again, I pull this all back to whatever your goal is for this, there are steps, right? And part of the steps is how you grocery shop. How are you then looking at the foods? What are you looking at? And what is there for you to go off of? And I do have to say, whether you agree or not with what's going on. I know it can get political. I know it can, everything is political, unfortunately. I mean, that's just politics, but politics does shape our food. It shapes our agriculture systems. It even shapes health professionals. We have to abide by certain policies and regulations, even for our RD credentialing and licensing and all of that. So politics affects MDs, RDs, RNs, our food, our infrastructure, everything. So, you know, I would hope that we do and we continue in this momentum of a push of a better food system, a healthier food system. Our overall goal and what's encompassed in our tagline, Heal with Each Meal, is this idea of making health and healing the default. And unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. I won't go all into that. I've gone into that previously. I believe it was a episode we did on food systems, and that should be, by the time you're listening to this on the podcast, it should be on the podcast already. If it's not, but I went into all that in our food systems and really how we got to this place where being unhealthy is kind of the default. It's way easier to be unhealthy than it is to be healthy, right? For the most part, it takes a lot more effort to be healthy. Or what I should say is it takes a little bit more effort to kind of put yourself on the healthy path. But once you're there, and I can speak from experience, it's a lot easier than to go on the other path of a negative or like an unhealthy default. Okay, if that makes sense. So yes, so let's get into it. I do want to say what a blessing food labels are. And really, I know a lot of us, especially if you're younger, I know the younger generation I see, whether my daughter's very young, she's 9, but even those who are in college right now, I feel like they've just grown up in this modern era, and even myself, where it's just like, yeah, food labels. Yeah, they've always been there. Yeah, it's our food. You go to the grocery store and pick up a can of food, and boom, you have it, and that's all you need to know. Well, that wasn't always the case, right? Food labels are fairly new, I would say. It's new, especially the modern food labels that we have today. It's really amazing to see. health professionals like myself and beyond who have been really advocating and pushing healthy policy to be transparent, because food companies didn't have to be transparent before. We didn't There was a time when they didn't have to list their ingredients and put calories and all these and vitamins and minerals and fats and all. They didn't have to do that. It was just like, here's a can of peas, like there you go, it's peas, that's what's in it. And that's at the time probably all that was in it. And as time went on, there were other things that you can put in those canopies that you didn't have to disclose. But it was really because of advocacy, because of transparency, because we live in a country where we do promote freedom and health freedom for the most part, despite what many may think. For the most part, we do have this transparency. And on the flip side of that, there are issues, right? So I will show you guys this. Let me show you, just so there's no confusion about this, and we have been very vocal of this. The FDA controls our food labels, and there's issues with the FDA. So even the British Medical Journal came out with revolving door. Um, you are free to influence us behind the scenes. FDA tells staff leaving for industry jobs. So this is in major medical journals. This is a fact for anyone paying attention. We do know there is this revolving door between privately owned and huge, like, multinational corporations and the U.S. government. The U.S. economy is one of the biggest, if not the biggest. It is the biggest economy in the world. I think we kind of race with China here and there. Um, but really, we are the biggest. We set the standard, even when it comes to public health, food labeling, FDA. We set the standard for the rest of the world. They tend to follow us in terms of our structure, and we consult, and that's a whole nother story. But we set the tone for the most part, and we are kind of setting the tone for legalized corruption. Essentially, it is bribery. We do allow lobbyists. We do have lobbying of our my plate, right, of our nutrition and public health recommendations. And it's even written about, right? It's in journal articles that you can find on PubMed, in the British Medical Journal, where we're talking about this revolving door. And if you read on, all these like privacy things are popping up, but if you read on, I mean, just a brief description, we won't read this whole thing, but internal emails show that the US Food and Drug Administration informs employees leaving for industry jobs. So it could be, not to call it names, but why not Nestle, right? It can be Kellogg's. Kellogg's been in the news a lot and on social media with Food Babe and all that. Despite restrictions on post-employment lobbying, they are still permitted to influence the agency. So these were internal emails that were leaked. Thankfully, we do have whistleblowers that are within the government and some of these agencies who have ethics and a conscience and go, hey, we shouldn't be doing this. Hey, we have this policy and laws that say, hey, don't do this. But, hey, you can still do this. Hey, you want this job? You want this kickback? You want to get this grant funding? I'll put in a good word. It's all these things. It's knowing the right people. And it's a thin line between healthy networking and breaking the law, right? And being unethical. It's a very thin line. We're all humans. We've all been there. Like, let's be honest, whether it's in your job or somewhere else. But we are confronted with being ethical and being truthful and telling the truth. We are flawed human beings, and this can be very hard. Why the FDA is no different. They're just a collection of human beings in the Food and Drug Administration, which is why we need oversight and transparency. So that is the goal. Unfortunately, we've lost a bit of that, right? We've lost a bit of that with some of these laws, especially lobbying laws. And like, I won't go too deep. I want to focus this on on helping you shop for food, but there's GRAS, generally recognized as safe, and just other policies. Okay, there's, look at BMJ is just popping up ads like crazy. Okay. Um, so with all that being said, I want to say, like, a blessing for food labels, wonderful. So much work into that. I mean, these departments are so important. At the same time, they're not perfect, right? We have to be aware of that. And with us at Married to Health and Good Gut Live, we like to live in the middle. We like to give you context on, yes, the good and the not so good, and being transparent with both. And there's work to be done. So we move into some of the labels, right? And I'm seeing, hey Courtney, what's up? I knew you'd be watching this. This was Courtney's influence in this, as well as some of our staff was like, yeah, this would be a good topic. We're going to get into organic. We're going to get into like gluten-free and certified gluten-free and all that. And please, I want to see if you have any questions or comments. Please have them come through. If not, you can even comment down below if you're watching this or listening to this later on your on whatever podcast app you like to listen to. But so I want to kind of go. I mean, there's so many labels out there, everyone. I mean, I get that. I see that. We know this, and I want to kind of cut through that. So I think I'll just get into. If you made it this far, and this is nowhere near as long as our podcasts usually are, but I want to get into really how we shop, and I'll be showing. I can definitely pop up some examples. There's definitely possibly some things I'm gonna go through. I have 7 points that I like to go through, and these are in order. So I'll start with the best and kind of like what I look for first and what I look for last. And typically what I look for, and this will probably like, okay, yes, me too. But what I look for is no label at all. So typically when we shop, I like to do a lot of my shopping at the farmer's market. And by law, you're growing a known, it's not like this genetically modified freak of nature. It's just heirloom seed or seed you have, or it's perennial and you're growing food. You don't need to slap a label on it, right? I mean, for the most part, some growers will have that sticker with the barcode and the numbers, so you're able to track, and that's great. But for the most part, you are ideally choosing foods without the need of a nutrition label, right? So you're not having to look at, is it all natural? Is it keto? Is it low fat? Is it no added sugar? All these things. You're looking for something without a label. Okay, we've all maybe heard that before. But I had to say that that is true. That's what we're doing. Where we do that is pretty much anywhere, but I do make it a point, and I do this. I do the farmers market shopping. I go to the farmers market every Sunday before church. I wake up early, go in the morning. Sundays I usually try to exercise as well as go to the farmers market, and then we typically have breakfast and then go to church. So it's a pretty full morning. Um, but yes, the farmers market is part of our routine. It's so important on so many levels. And just to maybe we could do a whole episode on the farmers market if that's something you guys want, but really it is just a place to get locally grown, really great quality produce at a really great price. Even it is usually lower than, I mean, obviously at higher end grocery stores, but even lower than just average grocery stores, whether it's Albertsons or Ralph's, or it's within the same price range, but you're getting a better product 9 out of 10 times. So first and foremost, look for food, eat a majority of your food, eat a lot of food, especially plant foods that don't even need a label, that don't need packaging. Wonderful. That's a win. If you are getting something with a package, right? If you are getting, whether it's a full on already done frozen meal, if you're getting a soup, if you're getting just a single ingredient like a can of peas or green beans or whatever it is, you're looking at the ingredients. That's the next biggest thing, right? So you're looking at ingredients. I want to pull up. I think I'm going to pull up. Who am I going to pull up? Who am I going to shout out? I really like, if we're talking about cans, I really like Eden. So Eden Foods. So I'm going to pull them up. And so number one has been just farmers market, Whole Foods, not even needing a food label. Number two, if you are shopping for foods, it's Eden Foods. We really love Eden Foods. I'll probably be shouting out some others as well, but let's look at like what they have here. Let's look at their pantry. Look at all they have. Wow, there's everything from dried fruit, nuts and seeds, and pastas, sweeteners, condiments. So I really didn't. I just want to do this as if I'm looking at something. So I'm just randomly going to pick their applesauce because maybe you're someone who has a child and likes applesauce. Okay, look at their cinnamon applesauce and it's organic. Let's take a look at that. Um, let's kind of close all these and everything. So if we're looking at this really doesn't have a typical, and maybe I'll do something more like name brand, but it really doesn't have much on it. It's like organic. Okay, we'll get into that. Oh, look over here. We can see, wow, look at this, organic, non-GMO. I don't even know what that one is. Ooh, macrobiotic. Whoa, look at that, guys. A new one. We can look that up right now. Gluten-free, kosher, very low sodium, fat-free. Okay. So what these do have meaning. I would say these, I mean, they're all very pretty important, but like the organic, non-GMO, kosher, important. But let's go in order. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves because I get excited with this. And for those of you just watching, we're looking at Eden organic apple cinnamon sauce, and we're just looking at a jar as if we're buying it at the store. And so I said, obviously, first thing, whole foods. Second thing, I'm looking at ingredients. So the ingredients here are organic apples, organic cinnamon. That's what I would hope would be in organic cinnamon applesauce, right? That's what we're seeing is organic apples, organic cinnamon. Wonderful, right? That's great. Okay. Now, it doesn't specify whole organic apples, right? So and even with applesauce, they can filter, they can extract essentially the fiber and other things from there. So that's important to know. That's important to keep in mind. Um, but I would say like if you're getting applesauce, okay, that this is a pretty good applesauce. It's also in glass. The next thing I look for might not be what you're thinking of, but I look for country of origin. So typically you can look up these numbers, but if I had the jar in front of me, it would say in like that weird typewriter print, if you guys see it. But if I'm on the website, I probably have to look for on the website. I don't think it'll say as easy on the website, but typically it'll be on the jar. Um, See, and even though the company is from Michigan, that doesn't mean okay, it's all from the USA, right? So my question is, and the next thing I personally look for, and Dahlia personally looks for, and I'm gonna say since Dahlia's not here, I'm better at looking at this than Dahlia. Um, no, don't get mad at me, Dahlia. But the next thing I look for is country of origin. So what I mean by that, like it'll look like a typewriter print. I probably should have something right here with me, but for those of you listening, I'm gonna see what I have here. But you guys will see it. It's on the bag, it's on the jar. It'll look like old school typewriter print, and it'll say country of origin. So I want to know: are these apples from the USA? Could these apples be from South America? Are they from China? And you're not able to know. For the most part, Eden does source because I know the company pretty well. We've been recommending them for a long time. No affiliation, no kickbacks, no anything like that. They do source a lot from the US. I wonder if we'll explore their website a little bit. I'm just looking. No, it doesn't really go into detail, but that's okay. But typically, this is big for frozen food. When I'm looking at frozen food, specifically, for example, Costco, I know many of us don't think about this, like country of origin, but that really matters because, and we'll get into all those labels that I was just mentioning organic, non GMO, gluten free, kosher. There are loopholes depending on the country of origin. So, you've maybe heard, maybe not. There's a lot of controversy with organic, especially when you're sourcing from China, because China standards and the loopholes are easier to kind of get through. There's lots of fraud that can happen, and people do get caught. There are shipments of soy that comes from China, and they're saying it's organic and it's not, and they find out. There's lots of things that happen like that from South America. Usually Mexico's pretty good as well. So I like to see country of origin personally, just from experience and from just being in this world for over a decade, from the US and from Mexico. Those are my top two. Europe can be okay, like in Italy, France, anywhere in the EU, because they also have great regulation. They're very strict, many times more than us, sometimes less than us, but for the most part more than us. And so I like to, the only reason why US and Mexico are still my top two is because I live in Southern California. I like to see things closer. I feel like that even makes up for the fact of maybe it's not as clean sometimes as what's in the EU. But with the EU, you have to remember by the time they are grabbing it, processing it, loading it, shipping it, typically by massive freights on this massive cargo ship across the Atlantic Ocean, then it gets to a port in New York City, then it gets on a truck, then that truck then goes to distribution centers all across the US. Depending, it finally makes its way to Southern California weeks, if not months later. Whatever that is, no thank you, maybe, right? Unless it's like some fermented jar or something with the long shelf life naturally. But, okay, maybe. But by the time that food was, let alone picked, I mean, nevertheless shipped and got to the grocery store, and by the time I pick it up to buy it, that is quite the long process. I'd rather have short food, local food than this long, far away food, right? Even though it may be a little bit better quality. So hopefully that makes sense. That's just personal preference, especially when it comes to frozen food. I've seen frozen foods at Costco that I've seen this bag of frozen cherry. Everything looks good. Frozen cherries. It's just cherries in the ingredients. It's organic, even certified organic. Great, but it's from Israel. Like, why? Wow, that has been on quite the journey. I don't even know how it still looks like a cherry. And every once in a while, you get a frozen fruit where you're like, this tastes like it went bad a long time ago and just froze. Like that happens as well. For the most part, they're flash freezing and it's okay, but that happens. So many, I don't think look at this, but again, it is in my top three, right? So top three, the third being country of origin. That is huge. What I don't think a lot of people look at. Okay. So that is huge. Next, we now move into number four, which is looking at the food label. So I will look at the nutrition facts. As far as the food label here, we're going to go back to our applesauce analogy, or not example, not analogy. Let me pull it back up. Boom. Okay. So back to our applesauce. So the next thing I'm looking at, I'm moving to the actual nutrition facts here. The nutrition facts controlled by the FDA here in the United States. Okay, so what am I looking at next? So number four on the list would be added sugar for me. That's what I'm looking at, especially when it comes to applesauce. Now, for those who've been doing this a long time, and and many of our listeners are advanced, you already know. Well, the ingredients I didn't see anything of sugar, so I know there's no added sugar. And right, and this is even fairly new with added sugar, where we're required, or companies are required to show the added sugar amount. So we're not seeing it here. So pretty much what it's saying without saying is all of the sugar you're seeing, you are seeing 12 grams of sugar, but that's just the sugar found in those apples, right? That is just apple sugar. They're not adding sugar. And trust me, many apple sauces you will find will add sugar. Okay, so it's very important. Apple sauces, pasta sauces, frozen, I mean, so many things add sugar. Why? Because sugar keeps you hungrier, sugar makes you addicted. We know this, right? There's the bliss point. There's more and more studies coming out where many industry, let's say advisors or front groups will be like, no, food isn't addictive. No, it's not. But it's like, okay, we know enough now. We've been around the block long enough. We've seen at least preliminary research and better research coming out to know that's not the case. Food can be addictive, especially as we process it. Added sugar, added fat, added salt are factors in that, right? We've talked about the bliss point before, which is the trifecta of those three things coming together to make this. I mean, guys, I'm human too. I know this. I know I like to consider myself pretty healthy, but man, when there's a food you really love, they're like, oh, I'm craving that slice of pizza. Even if it is like plant-based, gluten-free pizza, it still has sugar, salt, and fat. And when you get that combination right, it's delicious, right? Whether that is a bag of chips or pizza, whatever it is, it's like makes me salivate just thinking about it, because we are wired that way. We like these foods, we like these tastes, we like these flavors. So anyway, added sugar is my next one. Ideally, you're getting no added sugar. Okay, is the goal for when we're talking about everyday eating, everyday food. No added sugar, and you'll know that one by the ingredients, which is why it was before this, and two, in the U.S. we're showing added sugar. So if there's a ton of the added sugar, you don't want that. That is not great. So then in looking at that, okay, so it has total sugar. Okay, that's what you'd find in the apple. However, The next number 5 most important thing, and this is still very important. They're all very important. These are what we look at, what we feel is really great to look at. Would be a carb to fiber ratio. If you've been following us, I think we have posted for sure videos on this with other food products we really, really enjoy that have great carb to fiber ratio. I might pull some up. Why not? While we're looking at this, but we're looking still at this Eden organic applesauce example. And let me know if you're familiar with the carb to fiber ratio. If you're listening to this later, comment. If you're live, comment and let me know if you're familiar, if you've heard of the carb to fiber ratio. This is huge and this is very important. As you know, we do take obviously a gut centered focus. Um, we do love gut health and we feel that is the nexus of all health on the planet. So fiber is very important. And trust me, there are other important aspects, but fiber is very, very important. I'm going to pull up another example as well to show you a really good carb to fiber ratio in another product. But so if you're looking here at this applesauce, and for those that are just listening, what you're seeing is the nutrition facts. You're seeing in this example, and I'm seeing Courtney. I'm so excited about this breakdown. Reading labels makes my head spin. Hopefully, I'm not making your head spin. And again, you don't have to do all these. I'm just showing you what I look at, and we're going to summarize it at the end. I'm going to give you some key takeaways, but really, this is how we look at food. And again, once you practice this, once you get in the swing of it, it helps you be healthy. Yeah, it's it's great. I'm seeing some other just random comments come in. Perfect. But yes, and I want to look at Instagram. Shout out Instagram. What's up? If you guys have any comments or questions as well, you guys are here. Perfect. Okay, so here we are back to the applesauce. And so what you're seeing is the nutrition facts. You're seeing total carbohydrates is 14. Okay. You're seeing dietary fiber is 2 grams. The carb to fiber ratio is taking, you're going to do some math here. So hold on. It's not crazy. You're going to take the total carbohydrates divided by the dietary fiber. If that number, so what you get from doing that simple division, if that number is 5 or below, you have an excellent, likely whole food ingredient, fiber rich food, right? Wonderful. 10, 5 to 10, if that number is. So in this instance, right? 14 divided by 2, you have 7. It's not bad. So even if it's 10 or below, obviously 5 or below is excellent. So then anywhere 10 to 5 is still okay. It's still good. It's maybe not as great as it could be, but it's still pretty good. Anything 10 and above, and let's show you an example of that. You know what? I'm going to pull that up as well. I'm going to pull up something that I see lots of kids eating. So why not? Let's do one of those examples. I see lots of kids eating, and see I haven't looked at it before, guys. This is Good Gut Live. We are live, so I'm not even gonna see what it is, but I see a lot of kids eating this. So this one's okay. This applesauce is okay. What's happening when we're making applesauce and what the company's doing is they're likely extracting a lot of the core and the fiber and the skin. So you're losing a lot of fiber. But still overall for an applesauce, this is pretty good. A 7 is pretty good. It's pretty close to a 5. You're getting fiber. You're not getting tons of sugar and tons of added sugar. You're still getting great potassium and other minerals. So this is a great product. This applesauce is great. Let's look at something maybe a little more ideal. What I'm looking at, I'm here with Amy's organic soups. So this, especially when we get super busy, oh my gosh, and look at all the labels they have there. Oh, we're gonna go into that. That's a lot. But so what we're looking at is the carb to fiber ratio. Let's look at Amy's lentil soup and let's look at their carb to fiber ratio. And should we go per container? Yeah, why not? Let's go per container. So this is per container. This is just a serving. So there's one can serving size per container. What are they talking about? One serving per container. Okay. Oh, per cup maybe because it's more than a cup. Okay. Anyway, Let's do this. So we're going to do some math. So this, for it being a soup, and this is a lentil soup, and there's many soups that do not reach this carb to fiber ratio, 33 divided by 6 is roughly, it's like 5.2, I think. 5.23, something like that, right? I won't get out a calculator because it's roughly 5. So this is excellent carb to fiber ratio. You're getting lots of fiber in this. So if I'd look, I know we're doing the we're not doing the ingredients per se, but if I probably look at these ingredients, the first ingredient are lentils, which you would hope would be the ingredients. Okay, the first ingredient is some water and then lentils. Great. So for the most part, you're getting fiber-rich lentils, and then next is celery and carrots. So you're getting lots of great fiber-rich plants, which is why this carb to fiber ratio is great. Let's look at something I see a lot of kids eating. So let me know if you have questions on the carb to fiber ratio. Again, if you're watching this later, comment with any questions you have. But that is, I'm blanking on what number we were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was number 5. 2 more to go, guys. But carb to fiber ratio is important on our steps on what we're looking at. I want to show you all. And for those of you not watching, we're on the Uncrustables website. And Uncrustables, I think are they owned by Kellogg's, I want to say. I'm looking this up. J.M. Smucker Company bought, who owns J.M. Smucker? Including Folgers. Wait, is that their own? Let me see. I gotta know this now. Oh, J.M. Smucker Company is owned by a variety of institutional, retail, and individual investors. Okay, so it's like Vanguard. So essentially, yeah, they're J.M. Smucker Company, right? They own Folgers, they own Uncrustables, but their big time investors are like Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. Wow. Okay, fun stuff. So big multinational corporation with lots of funding. Okay, but I see a lot of kids eating this. Let me know if you or your kids or your cousins, your nieces, nephews are eating Uncrustables like this. This was, I forgot when these came out, but I definitely remember a time when these weren't around. And then when they were, holy moly, it's like every kid is eating them, even adults. And I love the idea. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's fun. I get it. But let's take a look at their stuff because I just see a lot of kids eating this. Which one should we go for? Let's just do as traditional as you can get. Oh, on strawberry. Let's do peanut butter and jelly. And let's just see what their carb to fiber ratio is, because that's what we're on right now is the point of carb to fiber ratio. It takes so long to find. If only I did this before. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Okay. So remember, I'm try to zoom in as much as I can. Okay. So here you are in an Uncrustable. Now, carb to fiber ratio, we're taking total carbohydrates divided by dietary fiber. If it's a 10 to 5, it's pretty good. If it's a 5 and below, it is excellent. 28 divided by 2 is 14. So it's well above a 10. It's not something you want to eat every day. This isn't something where you're going to be like, yes, I'm getting my whole food nutrients and my fiber and and I probably, you'd guess that from an Uncrustable, hopefully, where you're like, this isn't, it. This isn't what I'm going to really base my nutrition on, hopefully. But I mean, look, they tout 6 grams of protein, no high fructose corn syrup. Got to give them credit for that. Okay, cool. But the carb to fiber ratio just isn't there compared to even applesauce, compared to other options from Amy's. And I'm sure if you made got a high quality bread and a great whole food peanut butter, and you can even, we love to just put a date in fruit and you can smash it up and you got your own jam right there. That would give you a great carb to fiber ratio, amazing nutrients. You'd feel full longer. All these boxes are checked, and boom, you'd be good. You'd be solid, right? So that is much, much better. Okay, we're moving on. So hopefully carb to fiber ratio, you understand a little bit. So we're going to number 6. Number 6, what we're looking for is protein. So if we go back, let's go back to applesauce. Applesauce is not going to have protein, right? So am I going to eat applesauce? I might throw it in a baked good where there is protein. I might use it as I mean, honestly, what do I use applesauce for? I use it in baking. I really just don't eat applesauce. Sometimes my daughter used to love applesauce. Little kids love applesauce. For me as an adult who I love to get my protein, my plant protein. Yeah, not where it's at unless it's in a baked good. And typically we're baking like protein pancakes or protein bites, and maybe we'll throw some applesauce in. Let's look at the other examples we were showing. And for those that are just listening, we went from the applesauce, which had 0 grams of protein. Now we're going to Amy's, which has 9 grams of protein. So not bad, but if you're looking at, if this is your meal, I typically like, and again, we can get into calculations, but shorthand, I like to get no less than 10 grams of protein for whatever item or meal I'm eating. Ideally, in a meal, I'm getting 15 plus grams of protein. Um, and really, I like to get 20, just because I'm typically eating about 4 meals a day, and so that's giving me 80 grams of protein with some snacks. And if I do a shake or something, and I'm pretty active, I like to exercise 5 or 6 days a week. I like to maintain muscle mass. I'm a guy. I like to lift heavy things. Not saying women can't lift heavy things. So obviously, protein requirements differ, but that's why I want to put an emphasis on protein. I feel like I know we still put an emphasis on protein, but I want to put an emphasis on whole food plant protein. I want to put emphasis on clean plant protein. Studies are showing, and for a long time, whether it's observational and even other studies, that plant protein is just a little different. And that's because we are getting phytonutrients. We are getting a synergistic effect in plant protein that we're not getting in animal-based protein, especially when it's low quality, basically CAFO derived animal-based protein. We're getting our whey and casein from sick cows. We're getting our egg-based protein from sick hens. And so you're getting a more carcinogenic, endotoxic, contaminated protein source than plant protein. And I'll be fully transparent and say, especially if you're getting protein powders, there's likely some contamination. So it's being careful where you're getting protein powders, being careful where you're getting your protein supplements in general. And then when choosing foods, definitely choosing a great plant protein. So lentils can be good, but say, for example, if I was eating this Amy soup, I would eat the soup and probably have like a tofu salad on the side. And that way I'm getting my soup and my salad. I'm getting great carb to fiber. I'm getting so many phytonutrients, my fiber, my vitamins, my minerals. I'm getting my leafy greens, and I'm probably getting an extra 10 to 15 grams of protein from tofu. And that is a very satiating, healthy meal for me, as opposed to like just eating the soup. If I was in a pinch, I would just eat the soup fine. But ideally, next, what I'm looking at, number 6 on my list, is protein. And I know it is for Dahlia as well. She definitely looks for her protein and making sure we're getting good protein. Okay, so lastly, what we're looking at, and just to recap a little bit, we're looking for no food label. So we're getting whole foods at the farmer's market or wherever, supermarket. You're getting the whole watermelon and the dried beans and the cantaloupe and the tomato. You're getting whole foods, no label needed. Second, you're looking at ingredients. You want to look for ingredients. You want to just look for simple ingredients. Third, country of origin, which not many people are like, what, really? Okay. Added sugars, fourth. Carb to fiber ratio, fifth. Six, protein. Seven, what we like to look at are calories. Yes, we do look at calories. And so when we're looking at calories, we're just going, are these calories sufficient for what we're getting? So if we're getting a good fat and a good protein and the carb to fiber ratio, and we're going, okay, 260 calories for that. Oh, that makes sense out of my caloric needs. Now, if you're not sure to calculate caloric needs, we can do that. We'll put some links below. We'll give you more information on that. But as an example, let's look at, we have Smuckers, we have the Uncrustables, right? And maybe we'll go to other examples, but let's just see what they're showing for calories. So 210 calories and one sandwich is 58 grams. So if we're going back to Amy's, so I just want to show you the difference of this, and I did not plan this at all. For looking at Amy's, one can is 411 grams. So this is a really easy just rule of thumb, especially when comparing. So if I was going to grab something quickly, I'd probably grab this soup as opposed to an Uncrustable. And when you're looking at this, you're basically getting, so for 411 grams of food, that's the serving size per container, you're getting 260 calories worth of nutrition. Okay, 411 grams for 58 grams. So literally the other one is about 8 times, roughly, if I'm doing my math correctly, 8 times, uh, yeah, roughly 8 times as big, and you're, or I should say, this is the Uncrustables 8 times smaller. So you're getting 8 times less of the amount of food for roughly the same calories. So not only, and this is typically what we see. So surprise, surprise, what we were looking at going through the list from top to bottom, if you're using, eating whole foods and added sugar and country of origin, if you're doing all these things, by the time you get down to calories, you're getting a highly nutritious item, whether it's a snack or a food, without this excess calories. So it's great. It's going to provide you the satiety, the nutrition, the overall energy for without excess energy. So in this case, I could eat 8 times the food for the same amount of energy, and that's all calories are just, it's a unit of energy. It's how quickly can we boil a certain amount of water, and that's how we measure a calorie. And so in this case, you're getting a lot of calories for 8 times less food when you're comparing it to a lentil soup from Amy's, right? So, ideally, we've given Layla lentil soup to take to school. So you can give your kids an Uncrustable to take to school, a lentil soup. Something more comparable, is obviously making your own sandwich at home. I don't really know like a store bought sandwich like an Uncrustable, but literally, I mean, we make Layla peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at school, or for school, and we just make them at home. And you can even do that beforehand. Again, I know everyone's in different situations, has different time constraints and restraints, so I totally get that. But overall, if you're choosing an Uncrustable or not, just going through these steps that we outlined, right? These 6 steps, that we outlined, and really just asking yourself, right? Am I doing this on a daily basis? What is good to do on a daily basis? Sorry, 7 steps. What is good to do on a daily basis? What am I looking at when I'm shopping? And then the rest of the stuff there, like the certified organic, like the non-GMO, is great, but you notice that wasn't on our list, right? I will say certified organic is great. I'd probably put that at number 8 because I'm really just going to the bare minimum here. I'm really just going to, like, people need to eat, people need to find food no matter how much money you make or where you live. These are my 7 points of finding just great food no matter who you are, where you are. If I had to put a number 8, it would be, yes, choosing organic. I'm adding a bonus. It would be choosing organic. And if you can, certified regenerative organic is the newest label. So that is very important as well. And that is because above the non-GMO, even above certified organic, certified regenerative organic is important because it's protecting the soil. It's saying that not only is this food going to be the most nutritious possible for you as the human, but it's going to be the most beneficial for the environment in which it's grown. So very important. That's where we're moving to. That's what's so important, where we're all moving to in the future. And it's important that we support that if you can. And even if you are getting certified organic, that is still helping the soil. And that is very important. I'm seeing someone, sorry, I haven't looked at comments recently on Instagram. High growth love intentionally. How do you do the math on that again? I don't know if you're still watching, but I'm guessing the math on the carb to fiber ratio, perhaps. Let me know if you're still watching, comment. Let me know if that's what you're talking about or needing clarification on, or if when I was doing the for the calories, let me know. But yeah, I know. Look, hey, math. I don't like math. My daughter sometimes gets frustrated with math. For those of you that are parents, you're sometimes up late at night going over math with your kids. It's not fun. I do love math personally. I'm a nerd. I love math and science, and I'm not saying I'm great, but at those things. But I do love them. I do enjoy them. I love the structure of it. But yeah, look, all this to say you don't have to do all these things. Hopefully, you're taking some of this information. Maybe you've taken some notes. You're connecting with us at marytalk.com. We have handouts we can give you. If you're a patient, we have handouts on this and more information. But you're keeping it simple, because even if you just do the first three, so just opting for whole foods, right? That's been what we've been echoing and saying for a very long time, is going, hey, eat whole foods, eat whole plant foods, shop the perimeter. People like Michael Pollan, people like Joel Salatin, people like Dr. Zach Bush, people like who've been doing this a very long time, Marion Nessel, and just really big the Esselsteins. I mean, the list goes on and on of doctor dietitians, we call them, nutritionists and food, really just food. I would say people in the food movement, farmers have been saying this for so long. Eat whole foods, eat whole food ingredients. Wonderful, right? Looking at the ingredients, that goes next, right? These top three, even if you just do the top three, you're likely to be far better off than if you didn't. So if you extend to 7 and to the bonus 8 of organic, wonderful. This is just what we've done. When we first started out, we didn't know all this. We weren't aware of a lot of these things. We didn't do all of these things. But as time progresses, hopefully you progress, you get stronger, you get healthier. And like we always say, things don't get easier. You just get stronger. So they seem easier, right? You go, oh yeah, I cook more now and I didn't used to. Oh yeah, I'm more aware of what I'm shopping for and I didn't used to be aware, right? Oh, I used to take 6 medications, now I only take 2 medications. All these things add up, where it's not that it's getting easier, you're just getting stronger. You're getting healthier. You're healing with each meal, with every meal, right? Instead of a meal hindering you and hurting you. That is the goal, right? It's not perfection, it's progress. So, you know, I know, look, we're already approaching an hour, and I love that. Um, if you want another part 2 to this of the labels and getting more into that, we can totally do that. There's so many labels, from keto to low sugar, low fat. I know I went through some, like organic versus certified organic, and gluten-free and certified gluten-free, non-GMO. Oh my gosh. You know what? Before we do stop, I do want to look at this. I did see a new certification. I almost forgot about that. I want to look into that. For those that just watching, I've never even seen this label before, but it looks very interesting. I'm going to share my screen right here, and it's a macrobiotic. Hold on a second. I got to find this. I got to find this really quickly. I almost forgot. Where did I know it was with Eden, but I'm trying to see where exactly, because I hovered over it and it said macrobiotic label. I want to look into that really quickly. So let's go on a journey together. I think it was my macrobiotic label, maybe. Interesting. Macro vegan. I mean, I've heard of macrobiotic. I might have to do more research on this, guys. I don't know. Look, I learn new stuff every day as well, but I'm gonna have to touch base with Eden and be like, wait, what is this exactly? Because I'm seeing this. It looks like an Eiffel Tower with like circles around it. For those that are just watching, for those that didn't see it before. Okay, here we go. Wait a minute. Oh, it doesn't let me click. Let me share this. So this is Eden. Yeah. Very odd. It looks like an Eiffel Tower and it says macrobiotic. I gotta do that. So what I'm gonna do, this is my sleuth thing. I gotta do a reverse Google search. I just do like a Google search of that image and then it'll pop up. I wonder if I can do it. Yeah, search with Google Lens. I don't know if you guys ever do this, but you're learning something new. So you can search with Google Lens. You can drag. Oh, my bad. Oops, oops, oops. Okay, so what you do, search with Google Lens, you right click, you search with Google Lens, you you drag over the image you want to search, and here we go. Eden Foods. What is this? It's not showing up. Is it an Eden Foods? Is it like their own label? Okay, I gotta touch base. Eden Foods creation maintenance of purity in food. Oh, macrobiotic. We're finding it, guys. We're finding it. I learn new stuff every day by doing this. I promise you. Wow. The word macrobiotic comes from the Greek macro, meaning great or long, and bios, meaning life. Okay, but what? Eden, the order of the universe, 12 theorems of unique principle. Wow, 7 layers. So I believe this is saying this is Eden's own kind of purity. Macrobiotic eating, a way of harmony, includes traditional dietary rhythmic patterns by climate, location, seasonal progression. Its base is whole, unadulterated, pure food centered on organic, whole grain, beans, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, and fermented foods. Very cool. Well, there you go. Okay, so that's like their own macrobiotic label. Very cool. I did not know that. Okay, you learn something new every day. Now, how is this different? It's definitely more plant-based. It's saying it's centered on organic whole grains, beans, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds, and fermented foods. So it's definitely more plant-based. Um, so that we're certified regenerative organic, and certified organic obviously covers animal products and tons of different foods. I've seen candy that's certified organic, right? Obviously candy wouldn't fall under this. So man, there's so many labels out there, everybody, and that's why we're going to keep learning. And I like to try to make this easy. Now, I'm not saying you have to do certified macrobiotic with that label, right? That definitely wasn't in my top 7 or 8, but something very cool to look at. That's why we do love Eden. They're just really cool company. They do they do a lot of interesting stuff, and they're very much in this ethical realm of just wanting the best for people. Where we agree, we love whole grains, we love beans, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, fermented foods. If you guys have been following us, so very interesting, very cool. Learned something new myself, and to recap, this is just one puzzle piece of your health journey of heal with each meal. Obviously you will eat. I don't know how you shop. Everyone shops differently, but for the most part, if you're an average American or you're an average person in the world, depending where you live, you go to some sort of center or grocery store or Costco or food mart, bazaar, farmers market, whatever it is, and you're getting food. So hopefully a lot of these tips we've given to you applies to you. You can use these. Please share this episode. Please comment down below. Please like, subscribe, leave us a review if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple or iHeartRadio, and let us know if this is helpful. This is rooted in evidence. This is rooted in over a decade of private practice and being a registered dietitian. These are just great things to look for, great things to practice. Again, it's not about perfection, it's just about progress and understanding what your goal is. Now, things will get very different if you have SIBO. Things can be a little bit different if you have diabetes or heart disease. For the most part, these things apply, but there are some tweaks along the way. If you need help along the way, that's why you go to marytout.com and work with one of our 7 amazing integrative registered dietitians, and they can help you one-on-one tailor this, give you meal delivery, meal plans, recipes, and much more tailored in this idea of integrative and functional and regenerative nutrition. We're really moving into that phrase. regenerative nutrition that doesn't just heal you and keep you healthy, but it heals and keeps our environment healthy. So we're very excited for the future, guys. Stay tuned. Again, subscribe, learn more at marytalk.com, connect with us, like, follow, review, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for your support and for listening. And you can catch Good Gut Live every Friday on a various and different topic. And then eventually they go to our podcast, which is Good Gut Live, wherever you listen to podcasts. All right. Thank you all so much. Have a great weekend. And as always, heal with each meal.